N4 H&H here. I want to show you a quick little trick here with a weak signal CW. Can you hear that? Look at the S meter. Just zero. Okay, here's what he sounds without any help from DSP. And I'll show you in a minute what I'm doing. Oh, and let me turn off amp 2. So now we're back to the basic receiver. So on the 30 meter band, I have practically an S0 bouncing sometime to S1 noise level. Don't hear him anymore. So I can tell he's in there. So back to DSP, digital noise reduction. I generally run 15 on CW. APF, audio peak filter. Yep, beginning to hear him in there. Now I'm going to kick in a digital filter. Let me show you here. See, 600, that's the crystal filter. And when you press any of these buttons here, they go to defaults. If you press this straight in for the filter, you'll get it flashes, and that indicates that it's going to automatically track the digital filter and adjust accordingly. So if I put the digital filter at 350, you see it goes to the 600 hertz filter. And I'm in narrow mode here. I always run narrow mode for CW. So then, so you hear him a little bit in there. When I lower this, when I get to 300 or less, it switches over to the 300 hertz crystal roofing filter, which, you know, that's included with the FTdx5000MP. That's what this rig is. And those of you who have watched my previous videos know I'm a big fan of this radio. Also like the 101 D or MP. Okay, so I've got a 300 hertz crystal roofing filter engaged, and digitally narrowing it to 100. I'll even go 50. Now you hear that little ringing? That's coming from the filter. What it is, you know, if you watch my previous videos, we talk about Chebyshev or Butterworth filter curves. Chebyshev has steeper skirts, tighter, but you get a little more of that filter ring, and that ring is going to be whatever frequency your side tone is set to. So it can be annoying because you might hear it rippling or ringing. It's called a ripple, and it might be you're trying to decode that. Is it somebody sending? So it can, especially when somebody is really sending and that's mixed in with it. So you know you got to deal with that. In previous videos I mentioned that one of the things I'll do is kick in the manual notch, and I generally put it about 80 hertz below wherever my side tone is. In my case, 550 hertz. If you like 600, then you might turn that on and go to about 520. So if you go any closer to your side tone than that, you begin to knock down the side tone. But you know, you can sometimes under certain conditions plus or minus a little bit. So that's one approach I've talked about in previous videos. Now what I want to show you here is this guy's kind of on the edge where QSB is making him fade in and out. So I'm going to engage amp 1. Now remember, if you've watched my previous videos, I always tell you it's not about the S meter, it's about signal to noise ratio. So I'm going to engage amp 1, which is, just know that the S meter is calibrated with amp 1. So that's an accurate S meter reading right there, S0. I'm going to engage amp 2. That's also going to bring up more noise. And he's in there, but I got to get rid of the noise. I've boosted him, but I boosted the noise as well. So I'm going to go back over to DSP. And so, see what I mean with the notch? Knock some of it down. But I'm going to show you another approach. I'm going to tap this button here, which engages the VRF pre-selector, variable RF. It comes in the radio as a standard feature. A lot of radios don't have a pre-selector. They just simply have a bandpass filter, fixed bandpass filter. This is inserted between the attenuator and the bandpass filter, And if you look at the scope, you can see these things have a peak and then there's a slope. Not unlike the roofing filters, but these are earlier in the receive chain. So what you can do with these, there is a little insertion loss, not much with this one. You can do the similar thing if you have the MuTuners, the external units. It works sometimes even better, really, because they're tighter, but they do have a 5 dB insertion loss, which is fine. It just means that instead of going over here and kicking in an attenuator, the MuTuner handles it all. But even the VRF has a little bit of insertion loss, and that's fine because I'm going to lower it anyway. Because what I want to do is I want to put that guy's signal down into the slope, or the skirt, if you will, of the MuTuner, or VRF in this case, the preselector, so that I'm knocking the ring down that came in when I switched to amp 2 and increased the receiver sensitivity. Again, shoving more signal through those filters, even the physical crystal filter or even the digital. You're going to increase that filter ring, again called ripple. So let me disengage just a second. He's got a strong signal coming in there. This is a different guy. Okay, there's the other guy, the weaker guy. I mean, you know, we're dealing with stations that are this QRP, these soda stations up on mountaintops, running, you know, 4 to sometimes as much as maybe 15 watts, but generally around 4 to 10. And these guys are out west, and I'm on the East Coast. So again, using the VRF, the pre-selector, to kind of micro adjust to knock down that gain that I see. It was a little too much gain, not enough with amp 1 but too much with amp 2, so I'm using this to knock the gain down a little bit, but also change the center point where that filter is allowing signal through. See, without amp 2, I'd lose him altogether. He's so much QSB. Now, let me undo all this. Okay, we're back to amp 1. No help. Wow, listen to that. Digital noise reduction. Boom. Oh, there's somebody there. APF. Micro adjust the APF a little bit, but I'm pretty well centered up on him at 113.050. Narrow the filter, and I've gone down to 50 hertz. Not really hearing any discernible filter ring, but also he's knocked way down. Okay, now what I'm going to do is I'm going to engage amp 2 to restore some sensitivity. Oh, but there's the ring. Kick in VRF. You can see on the scope up there as I sweep this thing where the center, how the center point moves. I just want to get to the point where I can still hear him but minimize the filter ring. Okay, there we go. Not too bad. Now, I've got MuTuner, so I'm going to engage those. These guys here. That's the 40, 60, and 80 meter MuTuner guarded by Marvin Martian. And then there's the one for 20 and 30 meters. I do not have the one for 160. Might get it later at some point. So I want to show you here the difference a MuTuner makes. So it's an external version of a pre-selector. They're available for 160 through 20 meters. Go into menu 43 and enable the MuTuner. The step 1 and 2 just adjust coarse or fine. I usually run step 1. And now the MuTuner does track the VFO, where the VRF does not. So you have to adjust the VRF by ear or S meter, whatever you want to find the center. But see, if I move the VRF and press reset, it goes back to the center. And you can see on the scope how much tighter it is than the VRF. But hey, the VRF is better than what most radios have on the market today. There is some insertion loss. It's about 5 dB, but hey, it just means I don't have to kick in an attenuator, because again, it's not about the S meter. I want to knock that noise floor down. I want a better signal to noise ratio. So there's a little bit of ring in there, even it centered up, but oh, listen to that. So all I did was go through about 3 clicks. It's a stepper motor in the filter. So I went 3 clicks. No, let's see. 64 centered, 2, 1, 2. So 3 clicks down. Listen to how clean he is. So I'm using a combination of the insertion loss of the filter, but look at this. See, the center of the filter is over here. I've dropped his signal down into the slope. Now, without it, look at the scope. And there's all that filter ring. Now, you do have to make up for some of these adjustments by increasing the volume a little bit, you know, because I'm attenuating the signal some, again, because it's all about signal to noise ratio. So let me let you see the S meter. And again, I'm using amp 2. See all that QSB? If I didn't use amp 2, I would lose him in the QSB. See, he's fading in and out. So amp 2, and then micro tune or MuTuner to knock down that ripple, that filter ring. Well, I mean, this guy's, you know, he's right on the edge, even with amp 2. Okay, I hope you found that helpful. I just wanted you to see that, you know, that it's kind of a recap. If you feel that you need to engage amp 2 for more receive sensitivity to pull a weak signal in that may be hovering right above the noise floor, right above QSB land, if you will, then you're going to increase the amount of filter ring you're going to hear, but you can attack it either with manual notch. But you see what it's doing. The closer I get to my 550 tone, I'll knock him out. So about 470 is about as good as you can do. It helps, but it doesn't immediately eliminate it, or completely eliminate it. Now you can use a combination of the two, or just try the MuTuner, or again, if you don't have a MuTuner, then you will have VRF. So let me turn the MuTuner off. See, the VRF's got a little more ring in it. It's just the skirt's not as steep. But still quite effective. Listen to that. And now I'll go back to the MuTuner. So you see, the VRF's not bad. The MuTuner is, of course, you can see on the scope, tighter. let me go back to VRF. See more noise floor in there, and it's broader. So, and it's set right where I left it, 18. So I'm going to go back, engage the MuTuner. Look, I'll cycle between them. See, there's VRF. There's MuTune. You can see it knocking down the edges there of the band. So it's just a tighter version of the VRF. But hey, you know what? A lot of radios don't even have a pre-selector of that type at all. No adjustable pre-selector. You just, whatever the bandpass filter can do, and then you have to work with attenuators, but you can't slope things like you can with these pre-selectors. Okay, hope you found the video helpful. Just, techniques to squeeze out every little drop of those weaker stations. 73 from N4 H&H.